Ladies and gentlemen, it is Black and White with Brian Rundle, Lana Quest. Look at this. It is Monday night, not Tuesday. Both Lana and I had prior engagements for tomorrow night, so we decided to do the show together tonight. So, hello, Lana. How are you on this Monday evening?
Let me tell you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Why do I always have something? There's always a problem. From Thursday until today, just major computer issues at work. Not only major computer issues at work, I am dealing with, and I knew that there was a data breach somewhere because I'm like, I got a letter from Chase Bank, like starting like beginning of last week, like a letter saying, you know, we think that you've been a victim of identity theft. I'm like, what the fuck? So I called them up and was like, you know, no, I didn't apply for this credit card. And they're like, no, we didn't think so. You need to contact whatever. So I contact, you know, TransUnion, all the credit reporting agencies, and put a fraud alert.
Yep.
That all last week, letter after letter, Wells Fargo, First Bank, like just all these places the same day too, saying the same thing. So somebody got my information. And I'm like, how the heck did they get my social security? Because it's just not on anything anymore, right? You don't put it on anything. Today, I got a letter from like something called CHC, something health, something, which works with insurance companies, medical professionals, doctors. There was a data breach with them.
These data breaches are getting a lot of companies and getting a lot of places.
Yeah. So my information is just out there. It's like, I'm afraid to check my mailbox now. It's like every time I come home, I'm just like, fuck, another fucking phone call I have to make. Today I was in a car outside before I came in because someone left me a message from Citibank talking about want to verify your application because I got the fraud alert on there, right? Yep. So now they have to call me to verify. And then when you call them, you don't even want to give them your information because you're like paranoid. Right. They're like, what's your social security? What's your address? Right. I'm like, what's your address?
Yeah, exactly. Why you ask me about my address?
So I'm like, don't you have it? You have the application right there. And one of the people was so upset with me. She's like, ma'am, you can hang up and Google the phone number and call back. That's how mad.
I'm sure they get that a lot, and they probably have said that to many people. I froze my accounts, my 3 bureaus a long time ago because you just never know, and all these major corporations, AT&T, all this are getting hacked, and it's just a mess. I mean, it's just stupid.
It's easy for them to get hacked, and I'm like, they were hacked back in February. Why am I just now? Like everything is just now happening. It's very odd. I don't know. But
yeah. Well, that doesn't sound like a fun day, but I hope all that stuff is situated.
Of course not.
No. And this will it'll take months. And then what will really suck is if somebody does get your shit and they do use it, it'll take years to correct. That's the worst part.
Every day I check Credit Karma, like every day. I'm like checking to make sure there's no, and I'm like, take the hard inquiries off of my credit, which I don't see any on there. Like I check every day for something or some change because I'm crazy like that. But
yeah, I know it's a pain in the ass. And, trust me, I deal with credit all the time. And the credit system, first of all, in this country is absurd. It is absolutely outrageous. I don't know if a lot of people know this. There are 3 bureaus. There's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. But the problem with those 3 bureaus is there are hundreds of credit agencies that pull from those 3 bureaus. So people think that they see their score on one thing and think that's their score. No. That's not necessarily it. Your score could be different it all depends on what company like I'm using at my mortgage company. And then you have people, if you're applying for a car, they could pull a different score. Now they're not going to be that far off, but they could be different. Yeah, and sometimes interest rates are affected. Sometimes a 720 and a 680 will make a difference in your, your interest rate. So, things like that are important to know. And so I'm glad you brought that up. But before we started, it was going to be difficult probably for me to do the show tonight if the Mets wound up losing the game. Played today and tied up the series at 1. So we are 1-1 heading back home.
Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry.
What happened?
I wish we were watching this. So Kamala has her rally in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
During her rally, she's literally showing Trump talking in the background. Like, that's wild.
Good. And it's funny you bring that up, because we'll be talking about that here in just a minute, because you're right. This is going to be, Lana, we are, tomorrow is 3 weeks till election day. And I did another show just the other day, and I was going to talk about how we should feel about the election in 3 weeks. And I never really got to the end of it because I was just rambling for too long. But here's the thing. For the next 3 weeks, people are going to be freaking out. I mean, I already see people, oh my God, we're in big trouble. Trump is making all these inroads now, and he's making a big comeback, and people are going to vote for Trump. I am confident Kamala Harris is winning this election for a few reasons. One, Trump is gaining no new voters. He's gaining none. He is only losing voters. You can look clearly at the primaries when they were running against nobody. Some of the states he was bringing in less than 85% of the vote. People were still voting for Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis or whoever the fuck.
Right.
And nobody in these last couple of months, when they voted in the primaries, are going to go, you know what? It was fun to vote for Nikki Haley, and it was fun, to just kind of pretend like I wasn't going to vote for Donald Trump. I guess I'm going to change my vote back to him. Nobody's changing their vote back to Donald Trump. They know who he is. They know why they are against him. And that vote alone, I'm telling you, is going to make a huge difference. I also see this idea, and Lana, I want to talk to you about this too. Okay. This idea that especially the black male vote is, Kamala Harris is losing the black male vote, but I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Every poll I've seen, it's about the same exact polling that Joe Biden got in 2020 with the black male vote. But Lana and I, we've talked about this. At the end of the day, it's not up to black people to figure out who should be our next president. It is really my people. It is my people, and it is my gender. There's absolutely no question about it. They are the ones who will determine whether or not Donald Trump is the president or not the president. That's it. If you lose 10% of my people, it's a blowout of epic proportions.
Exactly. And thank you, Keiko. Sorry. Exactly. And that's why we have to be careful that we're not demonizing black people and black men in particular, because the media is doing that, because it's driven by Donald Trump's people and Republicans. Like, they're driving the news cycle about black men, like he's peeling them off. Like, that's them. That's Trump saying it and everyone running with it, when it's it's just not true, and we're pounding on them. Black people can do that, right? We can do that because we have to hold ourselves accountable and make sure we're showing up. So, I'll do a dear black man to black men tweet, because come on, we got to show up, right? We're just to push them. But I also know that black men voted for Hillary Clinton at a higher rate than white women did. So stop playing with us right now. We're not the problems.
It is that same sort of mentality of, if I have a brother, I can pick on my brother, but nobody else is picking on my brother. That's the kind of, mentality, which I understand. And I get. I do want to ask you, Lana, because there seemed to have been a little bit of pushback on Barack Obama when he made his comments last week, telling black men, you need to step up, you need to do your thing. Did you have any opinion on that? Did you have any opinion on the little bit of pushback that he got?
Well, it was taken out of context. One, because he wasn't.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
He was talking to field workers and telling them what they should be saying to actual black men. So he wasn't even talking to, you know what I mean? He was talking to field workers. Also, it was a short clip, so you didn't get the whole conversation. Again, it's not in context, and people take that like, oh my God, he's yelling at black men. And guess what? Even if he did, so the fuck or what? Because we all need to be yelled at and motivated at times. And if anyone is gonna yell at me, yo, I wish Michelle Obama would come and be like, girl, get up, get your thing, get your, get going.
You even say it. It's not even like yelling at as in, putting down or demanding. It is like, do you understand what will happen if she does not win and he does? Right. And I think, again, you and I have had this conversation before. I don't care what race you are. There are a large segment of this country, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, who don't follow this properly. They just don't. Correct. And sometimes maybe you do need a little boost from somebody who seems to know what he's talking about. Because Barack Obama is somebody that transcends race. When he speaks, everybody listens. Everybody.
Right. And we really are at a point where there's a 5-alarm fire. And we have to put it out. And everyone is like, we know what is going to happen to all of us if Donald Trump becomes president. So no one has any time to placate and to, are you going to be okay? You can do it. There's no time for that. No, it's let's go. Hillary Clinton said it best. We have him on his heels. Keep going. She said that. Fucking keep going. And that's what we're doing. Keep going. Don't stop. So I think that's what you're getting from Obama. I mean, you have to be proud of Kamala at this point because she's going on Fox News. She's on Charlamagne the God. She's on Howard Stern. She's everywhere all at once. I don't even know. She's just crisscrossing the globe. I don't know how.
I don't know. She even knows where she's at this point.
I don't know how she's doing it, right? Yeah. And like now she's just attacking him like crazy in your face. Like for her to have this rally, and they said that this was going to be one of the, and I wanted to see, I should have DVR'd it. They said this was going to be one of her more tougher worded rallies, and then to see her playing a clip of Donald Trump and making the people in the audience say, that's the guy y'all want to vote for?
Yep.
And brilliant. That shit's brilliant.
Yeah, it really is. And by the way, you don't even really have to record anything now. You can just go right to YouTube and the whole thing will be on there. So
that is true.
Yeah, so I do have some clips I want to play for her. I do want to address my friend Angel. First of all, Angel, I am sorry about your Dodgers. Her and I were texting a little bit during the game. She's a Dodger fan. I'm a Mets fan. I'm sure she wasn't sorry for me yesterday. So, but her question is, will Harris win the electoral vote? So this is back to my point. When I say that she's going to win, I'm not talking about the popular vote. She's winning this election. I actually, in a way, feel more confident about her winning this election than I did Biden beating Trump. And I felt pretty confident that Biden was beating Trump. So, I think, like I said, the next 3 weeks is going to be pressure filled for everybody because you never know what's going to happen. But if you just look at the numbers, if you just look at what's on the ballot in a lot of these states, abortion. And in fact, NBC just came out with a poll and said that abortion has now replaced the economy as the number one issue for this election. And that's important for two reasons. One, because this will spark women who otherwise wouldn't vote. They were going to have women who would vote, who have daughters and even sons who weren't going to vote, and going to talk them into voting. And number two, the fact that the economy is dropping as the second most important thing tells me that people are starting to feel that the economy is getting better, and it has gotten better under Biden Harris administration. And those little things make a difference. We go back, Joe Biden won states by 11,000 votes, by 12,000 votes, whatever it was. Kamala is going to pick up some of those and maybe even more. And she may not win every state that Biden won, but she's going to win enough to win the presidency of the United States. If she wins Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, game is over. Maybe still too close for us, for comfort, but I have very little doubt that she's going to not lose those three states.
I agree. I just hate saying it. Like, he's not picking up any votes. Like, just has the same amount of votes that he's had before. And yes, the media wants to scare us by saying, like,
they need to.
Well, that is true. White women are going home to Trump. Like, they're saying that, but it's just like, yeah, that's true. But we also registered a ridiculous. Did y'all forget Taylor Swift? Like, how many people registered? Like, did we forget that? So, there's that. There's the money that she's raising. There's everyone.
$1 billion.
Yeah, the ground game, whereas Trump does not have a ground game.
Nope,
he's using
Elon
company to do ground game. Like, who?
And paying people.
And then this storm is really going to impact Republicans in a bad way, because Trump
100%. Good
fucking point. Idiot by telling his people, don't listen to FEMA, don't come out. You got, MAGA threatening FEMA workers, and these motherfuckers can't even get out their houses to go and vote, and who knows where their ballots are. So they're fucked up. Like, those were Republican impacted places, and their fucking own government doesn't even want to extend the dates for them. Like, it's just really bizarre. Like, isn't that Georgia and North Carolina? Are they not extending?
Lorna, did you see the polling that they did on whether or not FEMA is providing funds for the states that need it? When they asked Democrats, it was well over 90% that said, yes, I'm still trying to figure out who the few percentage people were. I think they're just people who say they're Democrats, but probably don't really follow politics. And then you had over 80% of Republicans say that they weren't, which is really, really scary. But again, you're right. The states that were affected, North Carolina, Georgia, which are two important states in this election, they know what's going on. So you're not going to gaslight them. Maybe you'll gaslight a few people in Pennsylvania, but I've also found, I'm a northern guy. I know Jersey. I know New York. I know Pennsylvania. They're not fucking morons up there. They're just not. Right. They may be brash sometimes. They may be a little over the top, but they're not idiots. And they don't like being played like idiots. Try to play a New Yorker or somebody from Jersey like they're an idiot. They don't take to that too kindly. Right. So, I really think that's you make a good point. I think that's going to come back to bite them. And as I said, it's not even a bold prediction for me at this point. This to me is very easy. She's winning on that night. We will know that night that she had won the presidency of the United States. I feel very confident about that. And again, I've said before, if I'm wrong, you could come back at me and we'll have a discussion about it, and I'll be man enough to discuss it with you. But I feel very, very confident that she's winning. And Angel says, and leaving people with the right. Yeah, did you see that?
What?
Where he had his big rally in California, bust a bunch of people in, and they were stuck there for hours Exactly.
Laughing without water.
Right. Yeah.
And but it does. You know what? I kind of what strikes me is that, you know, when those people cheer about like him talking about firing workers and stuff, I'm like, you know, of course they're cheering because most of these people are bussed in and aren't even really his supporters. He's just paying them to be there. So they cheer at anything. It doesn't matter.
You know, I'll say in fairness, I don't know if most of them are. I will say that the good amount of people there are Trump supporters, which obviously we know that they exist. So, but I will say that when Donald Trump, and you get these morons who continue to post this online, that there were 100,000 people there. There wasn't even close to 100,000 people, but people are still going to regurgitate this nonsense. And this makes me embarrassed. You know, this is like the part of the American that makes me embarrassed because we are still dealing with this nonsense. But the good news is, folks, I'm going to say this again, in 3 weeks and 1 day, we're going to have a new president, and it's not going to be Donald Trump, and we are all going to be celebrating. So get through the next 3 weeks, relax, don't look at the polls, don't watch CNN because they want you to believe this is going to be close. Fox News is obviously propaganda.
Yeah, they have to talk about something.
They 100% do.
They have to talk about the tightening, and it's always going to be tight because we know, like, we're like what 47-50% country. Like, we're just half and half. That is what it is. It's about who's getting out on election day and who's mailing in their ballots.
Lana, even before you and I were born, there was a saying about the news. And the saying always was fear sells. And that has never changed. That has remained to this day. And it's actually remained, and it's even more prevalent in this day and age because of all the outlets that we have. So they want to push this fear and they want to scare the shit out of people because if everything were cool and fine and there were no issues, people would be out celebrating, just being, but no, now they're glued to their TVs because they want to hear what they need to hear to make them feel better. It's a psychology thing. That's basically what it comes down to. So, all right, so you brought up Kamala Harris and her rallies. She had one last week in North Carolina here, and this is probably on the same sort of lines as she's been taking and going to be taken probably the rest of the way. This is her calling out Donald Trump for basically being, you know, a big wimp and not going out and doing the 60 Minutes type interviews that she did and other things. And she does a good job here calling him out.
And he's not, but here's the thing, North Carolina, and he's not being transparent with the voters. He's not being transparent. So check this out. He refuses to release his medical records. I've done it. Every other presidential candidate in modern era has done it. He is unwilling to do a 60 Minutes interview. Like every other major party candidate has done for more than half a century. He is unwilling to meet for a second debate. And here's the thing. It makes you wonder. Why does his staff want him to hide away?
By the way, that's, God damn it. That is the perfect line. All right. So I'm just going to let that go. But she makes, you know, this is what she does, and she's doing it to perfection. She's blaming it on her staff, on Donald Trump's staff. Because if you blame Donald Trump, he's just going to go, she's crazy. But when you blame it on the staff to make it look like other people are telling him what to do.
Exactly.
It's so easy.
To get right into his head.
Yep. I mean, perfection.
Yeah, like Donald Trump's handlers won't let him.
That's exactly right. Like he's on a leash, like a doggy, and they are training him and telling him to sit because no, you can't go on 60 Minutes because Lesley Stahl is very mean.
Yeah,
she will get you.
Yeah.
But and you brought up earlier. What do you make of? I got one more clip of her, but what do you make of her going on Fox News and Bret Baier on Wednesday night?
I mean, good for her.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's full steam ahead. I'm not a coward. Like that's what she's trying to say.
That's exactly right.
He's a coward. He can't go to 60 Minutes, but fuck that debate on Fox. I'm just gonna go on to Fox and talk. Like I don't care. Go into his territory. Talk to his fucking people. How y'all gonna fix this now? I'm going on live, right? Is that shit live? Is it gonna be live?
That I don't know. I really don't. But you know what? It doesn't matter because Fox News, if she says something off or whatever, they would never edit it. They would never do anything like that. They would make sure the public saw it. I would assume that it's live. And Bret Baier is, if you're going to call somebody on Fox News a journalist, he might be one of them. So I don't know, it's not like she's going on Sean Hannity and asking dumb questions that you find on QAnon websites. But I agree with you. I mean, it's a strong move by her. And also, I think it'd be great if somebody like Rachel Maddow came out and said, hey, Donald, you're welcome to come on our show anytime you want to, and watch him deny that. And show the American people what a pussy he is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they reach out to try to get him.
But say it publicly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'm sure they've reached out many times, but I'm saying say it publicly to say, hey, she's willing to go on the opposite side network. So why don't you come on our show and say it every night until that election? That's what I would do.
Even CNN, he's not going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, anybody, he already said there's a CNN town hall that she's already accepted. He has not accepted the CNN town hall yet, as far as I know. So, I think it is important for the next 3 weeks to show the American people that this big, bad, tough guy, who's the guy that you want to protect you and protect your women like he says he's going to, I think it's time to call him out for the next 3 weeks and question his ability to be able to sit down and answer questions. So here she is. This is the same North Carolina rally where she's talking about how terrible he would be. And maybe instead of just taking it from me, you should take it from some of the people that have been around him.
And the people who know him best know it. His former national security advisor, 2 of his former defense secretaries, his former chief of staff in the White House, his own vice president have all warned America Donald Trump is unfit to serve. Or just listen most recently to what we heard General Milley said. General Milley, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs under Donald Trump, it was just reported, he said, quote, "No one has ever been as dangerous to this country," in referring to Donald Trump. Think about that. Think about that. And we can already see the harm he's up to as a candidate. Most recently, spreading disinformation in the wake of natural disasters. Blocking real solutions that would stop drug cartels from crossing the border when he tried to kill and did that border security deal. Because you see, Donald Trump cares more about scaring people, creating fear, running on a problem, instead of what real leaders do, which is to participate in fixing problems.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, what I do like about Kamala Harris, in, sort of a juxtaposition of Donald Trump is I understand what she's saying. I understand the words that come out of her mouth, and they make sense. They're logistical, and they're hard to argue, regardless of what side you're on. So she does a very, very good job of explaining and talking to the American people. And again, this is why I believe she is going to win. I don't want to hear the nonsense anymore. People don't know who she is yet. I mean, come on,
that's
man.
Ridiculous. Stop.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want to know then.
Right, exactly. And I've said before, if you don't know who she is, do yourself a favor and go out and find out who she is, because you already know who the other guy is. And it's pretty simple. If you know who the other guy is, it really shouldn't even matter who he's running against, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that to downplay Kamala Harris or anybody else that would run against him, because she's obviously qualified. In fact, Lana, you probably heard this, and I don't think we talked about this on the show. Do you realize that if she wins the presidency, she will be the only person in the history of this country to serve in the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the legislation?
Wow.
And the judicial branch. She would be the only one to serve in all three branches. That's not qualified.
But MAGA said, well, she's a dummy. It's like,
right. Well, no, MAGA didn't say. No, Daddy said it, and the flying monkeys regurgitated it.
Like, they should be embarrassed. Like, I'm very careful with whom I call stupid. Because, like, you just can't throw that word around a lot. Like, who are you?
It's really it's hard to fathom. And in fact, we're about to play some clips just to show how stupid this fucking guy is, because
he's stupid.
I mean, he's about as dumb as they come. And I've talked about this before. You and I've talked about this. I'm excited to get to the time where we don't have to play this nonsense anymore. But at this point, it's 3 weeks from the election. I think it is important for people to hear the words that come out of this guy's mouth. He is so, and this is how we talked about how much Kamala Harris has gotten into his head, that he feels he's like got to get in front of his people, his flying monkeys, to cheer whatever he says. And the fact that she keeps talking about his cognitive decline, and now other news outlets are starting to speak about it, which they should have been speaking about this a long, long time ago. But he is so bothered by this, but he feels like he's got to get in front of his crowd to make him feel better about his obvious cognitive decline. Here's him trying to explain to his crowd what exactly is going on.
One mispronunciation of a word.
Oh.
He's cognitively impaired. He's getting old. He's getting old. He mispronounced a word like the name of the gang, if I did. I think I got it perfectly, didn't I? But if they see any, they watch for weeks and weeks. For weeks and weeks, I'm up here ranting and raving. Last night, 100 pronunciation of a word.
God, why do I keep doing that?
He mispronounced.
That's one thing he said that I agree with. Finally, he admits he gets up and rants and raves.
Yeah, like the name of the gang, if I did. I think I got it perfectly, didn't I? But if they see any, they watch for weeks and weeks. For weeks and weeks, I'm up here ranting and raving. Last night, 100,000 people, flawless, ranting and raving. I'm ranting and raving.
What's the thing they say, Lana? I'm not sure that's the flex he thinks it is.
Exactly. Like, what the fuck? Then he says it like 20 times. Like,
right. Well, because he's trying to fill his empty head with words to say. He doesn't know what he's saying.
It's true. It's like, oh God, talking about word salad.
It's all filler for this guy. And because the problem is, for years he's been able to get up and literally rant and rave nonsensical gibberish. And what do the idiots in the background do? Well, actually, as Kamala Harris has pointed out, they're starting to leave now. I mean, back in the old days, they just cheered whatever he said. Some of them are actually starting to pack up and get the fuck out of there. They're like, man, what is going on here? But we're going to vote for him. But Jesus Christ, this is not what I paid for, even though some of them got paid for it.
And then I'll be at a little thing and I'll say something a little bit like I'll say, duh.
What?
They'll say, he's cognitively impaired. No,
I'll
let you know when I will be. I will be someday. We all will be someday. But I'll be the first to let you know. But when you can do this.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's obviously getting to him, Lana. He is really bothered by this. Really.
Yeah, he really is. It's like, it's so, like, that's how you could tell, like, MAGA, they're just really dumb. They don't read. There's no critical thinking, because this is like obvious. Like, if someone's talking about something all the time, obviously it's on their head. Like, it's not, this is not hard. It's like, why would he?
I'd say it's psychology 101, but psychology 101 is for like even the very basic. This is below psych. This is just psychology 1. It is just like, it's so obvious.
It's like a kid.
It's a child.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I'm not, she's fat. I'm not fat. I hardly even eat. I didn't even eat. I worked out yet. Like, come on.
It is crazy. But Lana, here's the funniest clip of all of them. After he gets done talking about saying wrong words, he goes on, and I'm not sure if he couldn't read the teleprompter correctly, but he tried to pronounce the word Arizonans. And this is how the cognitively declining Donald Trump said Arizonans.
We have some incredible people in our room. We have so many that we just can't. But we have some people in our room that I'm not going to mention because they fully understand why.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Tanya. Oh, beautiful. You look great. Thank you, darling. Also, we have many Azerasians in our room.
Azerasians. Many Azerasians in our room, Lana.
Who are those people?
I don't know. And actually, the clip, I'm gonna let the clip play out. Hold on.
Incredible people in our room. We have so many that we just can't. But we have
Azerasians
in our room. We have some incredible people in our room. We have so many that we just can't. But we have some people in our room that I'm not going to mention because they fully understand why, because I don't have time. But Robert O'Brien, I'm mentioning because he's the one that got the 300 plus people. So Robert.
My guess is because you couldn't remember
Robert O'Brien,
names.
please stand up. Thank you.
Okay, so he said Azerasians. The only thing I thought about in the very beginning was, is there some word for Asians in Arizona and they call them Azerasians? So I figured he would have played on that a little bit more. He didn't mention Asians at all. So and I thought maybe it's like, I don't know, that sounds weird. I don't know if I've never heard Azerasians before. Maybe obviously what happened was he looked at the teleprompter and he couldn't pronounce Arizonans.
Yeah. That's where Elonia comes from, Azerasia, I think. Right. Elonia is from Azerania or Azerasia.
So according to Donald Trump himself, the media is going to have a field day, or at least they should, with that one, because they take little words. I say, like, what do you say? The, and I say duh. And yeah. And
then don't say duh. Like he called that woman that stood up. I think he was saying, "You look great, doll," and he said duh.
Doll. Yeah, duh. Yeah, I mean, the guy is clearly losing his mind. I really don't even believe his heart is in this. I think the only thing fueling him from this point is like, and if I don't fucking put all my energy into this, I'm going to jail. So I got to put the very last quarter of a tank of gas that I have in my tank and see what I can do and just throw shit at the wall like I always do and cross my fingers that enough morons come out and vote and that if I do somehow lose, that I can get enough morons to think that once again, for the second straight election, when it's never happened in the history elections, that it was stolen, despite the fact that the last one was proven that there was absolutely nothing, that the courts came out and said, yeah, way over 7 million votes you were cheated out of. There wasn't even 7 votes that he was cheated out of, to my knowledge. Right. So I think this is all he's got, Lana. And I think he's just kind of like, this could be it for me. And he's got that sort of feel to him. And, you know, that's about it. What do you think?
I agree. Like, he's in it just to stay. Trump, he never wanted this. He doesn't want to be president. It's too much fucking work. He doesn't want to work. He just wants to make money in golf.
Yep. Which is what he will do if he wins, because he won't be president. We know.
No, it'll be the Stephen Miller and the rest of those Project 20 in 25 people in Vance.
Yep, that's exact. Vance will be running the country. Lana, do you remember when he was running in 2016 against Hillary Clinton? He was just so desperate to get anybody on his side, and he was doing all this stuff. Do you recall John Kasich came out when he was, I think he was the governor of Ohio, or senator? Was he senator or governor? Yeah, and he was trying to pick a running mate, and he told John Kasich, look, just get me in there. I'll let you run the country. And, you know, I'll just, you know, go basically to the side. Right. Not in those exact words, but that's what he wanted to do in 2016. I promise you that's exactly what he will do in 2024.
After he get rid of those cases, he's done. He's going somewhere to take a nap.
Yeah, people way more dangerous will be running the country than Donald Trump. Donald Trump's a danger in the fact that you have too many Americans that believe every word that he says.
Right.
And, you know, because of that, you know, the other people are the danger. But the other people that are the danger have actual plans, and they are intelligent people. They're evil, intelligent, but they are evilly intelligent, and they will get the things that they want done if they win the House and if they win the Senate, which would be an absolute nightmare for this country. I was talking to a girl at my work today, and I was assuring her, because I know she doesn't follow politics a whole bunch, but, you know, and I don't really inject myself on people, but when we start to have conversations about it, I tell her, I was like, listen, I'm not saying this and it sounds scary, and don't take my word for it. I want you to look this up yourself. This is not the same thing. Like, if Donald Trump wins, that things are going to be okay. If he wins and they win the House and the Senate, I promise you that this country will never be anything like you ever thought it was going to be ever again. It just won't.
Right.
It just won't. And, you know, I think I said enough to her, and she already told me. She goes, you know, what's funny is she says her husband's a big Trumper. She goes, I'm not telling my husband. And I said, you know what? You're the person, and you are the ones that are going to get Kamala Harris over the top, because you know how many of those women are out there who are going to vote for Kamala Harris and not tell their husbands about it, let them think that they're still voting for Trump.
Right.
That's happening at a clip that I think is going to be higher. And that's what I was going to say to you earlier, Lana, when we talked about white women. I think that white women are going to wind up surprising. They're not going to, you know, vote in the same category as black women do, but I think it's going to be higher, a significant amount higher, to where that's why I do believe by 11 o'clock or 11:05, as I said, on 11:05, that we will know that she's president.
I hope so. Because Pennsylvania always comes in late. So that means we're going to have to get North Carolina and Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to probably see some things. I swear, I mean, I do I still have concerns about it, but I do see this one guy who is absolutely positive. And I say this one guy, he's reputable, because he was saying throughout 2022, everybody's panicking. I promise you, Democrats are not losing these elections in 2022. Stay the course. Everything's going to be fine. He was right about that. He was right about 18. He was right about 20. He is positive Florida is in play and has a solid shot. So we'll see. That's more of I'll believe it when I see it. But back to Donald Trump, this is one of the things that he likes to say, that beyond the press talking about his cognitive decline, he wants to go back and talk about how smart he is. And he's smart, Lana, because it's in his genes. Do you believe in genes? He wonders.
Professor in the history of MIT, like 40 years, 41 years. Can you imagine?
This is the story he always talks about, an uncle that he has that is, and he always says that this uncle was like the top person in the history of MIT, which there's absolutely no proof to that at all. But this is him talking about his uncle.
So this is good. Does anybody believe in genes? Do you guys believe in genetics?
None of them do, because they don't believe in science.
And that's all we want you for. We don't want you for anything else. We don't want you for anything else. But for those...
Wait, what did he say?
Safety, and that's all we want you for. We don't want you for anything else. Genetics too, for safety, and that's all we want you for.
I don't know what that word was.
Safety. I don't know. I mean, I thought that was another thing of him just putting down his own voters, and they all cheered.
Oh, he's talking about genes because now he needs to separate the good genes from the bad genes, because the black and brown people have the murder gene. And he's got the good genes. Is that what's happening right now?
It appears to be the case, Lana. But it is crazy. It's insane that he equates, because he had some sort of smart uncle that went to MIT, that he's smart just in just by association. And again, it seems to work with a lot of the people. Last clip that we have here of Donald Trump, he was on one of these bro podcasts and talking about that if God were in charge of the California votes, that he would easily win California.
Was legit in California. It's all mail-in ballots, mail-out, mail-in. They're all over the place. Like, is it 36 or 38 million ballots? They get mailed. Everybody gets mail. Some people get more than one ballot. You know that, all this.
Oh my God.
They say that California automatically you lose. I say that if it was a straight election, I would win in California, because...
By the way, Lana, this is why he goes on these kind of shows and podcasts.
Right.
Look, these dopes. None of these people know anything about politics. And
then
they're just going to shake their head.
Right, exactly.
They're going to shake their head and go, yeah, that's probably true, but God's coming soon.
I do great with the Hispanics. With the African-American population, I'm getting record numbers. Nobody's ever seen that. For a Republican, record numbers. And, I'm doing well. And I believe that if we had an honest election, if God would come down and be our vote counter, right? That would be an honest election.
They're really looking at him like he's stupid, though. Seriously.
They should, but that's the thing though, is like going on these, Lana, this is what I'm talking about. The people who listen to those kind of shows, first of all, are they politically involved? Number one.
No,
number two,
guys are like,
yeah, this is not winning any new voters. Sure, you're going to get some dope who said, I never voted before and I might register. My guess is those people who listen to those kind of shows are going to realize they're like, oh shit, was that today? And like, and forget about it and not even remember, it's just, so I don't know how this is serving him, other than he has a bunch of people that will shake their head. Yes. That if God came down, God would now my question is though, if God, because it's my understanding, and if I were a religious person, I would take this I'd be a little offended, because it's my understanding God is already all powerful. And he could, if the results in California were true and correct in his favor, that God could do something about it. But apparently he's not. So I don't know. Who knows, Lana? But here's what we do know. Last clip of the night. You know what it's time for. The MAGA loser of the week.
Okay, good. Yay.
So we have a new candidate, and the Good Liars have been doing a very good job of finding the MAGA loser of the week. And this is the hurricane edition. They found one of the MAGA losers and asked her, what's going on with these hurricanes?
Oh my God.
I think there was an upcoming storm, and then I think government set in with whatever it is that they do. I don't know all the specifics about it. I'm not an expert in cloud seeding or whatever it is that they use to magnify the storm to a higher degree to disturb a land that may be wanted for lithium that Harris's husband is partaking in.
So they made the storm stronger, so it would hit the.
Doing with this one.
You think that Milton, they're making it stronger?
Went from a 2 to immediately to a 5, like instantaneously.
You're implying that the government made a hurricane stronger to hurt its own country, the United States of America?
Correct.
And what would be the gain of that?
If like there's been people out there, if they have an Alexa, I don't know if you've heard that, and they've asked what caused Milton. Okay. You can go on there now. It's already predicted the number of deaths and the amount of, it's already predicted it. On a Google, it won't do that. If you ask it about Helene, it'll tell you the government actively used seed clouding. This is before Helene even happened.
Why would a country want to have a hurricane be strong and hit its own country?
Because they want to control certain places. And
this only has, it's not much longer, but it is so fascinating. It's hard to interrupt.
If you're looking at where the hurricane's going, it's a lot of red states. If you're looking at the counties in North Carolina that were hit, there were all of them. 26 out of 28 of those counties were for Trump. They're doing whatever they can because they can't rig the election.
Even control the weather?
Yes.
Okay, Lana, that is MAGA loser of the week, and she is a very strong candidate. She might have jumped as the favorite for MAGA loser of the year, which we will be voting on, later on before the election. Lana?
That's just really, again, they're just so fucking stupid. Like, the government is gonna make a storm to hit a red county, whatever red county is, because you're just gonna say, because you hear people saying red county, that every single person in that county is a Republican and a Trump supporter. That's what you're telling us right now.
By the way, every state has blue and red counties, regardless of how they vote. Every state.
And that just means like the majority of people voted that way. That doesn't mean that is actually the majority of the people. There could be people that just didn't vote in that county or neither. Like I don't get that. Like,
Lana, is she stupid or is there something like really more serious going on here?
The government will knock out a country that may or may not have all Republicans in it. So, like, it's just so because we don't want that county to contribute to, America. Like, we want y'all not to work. We don't want to collect Social Security from these group of people. Like, I don't know. It's just stupid. It's just so stupid.
I think it's important to note, too, that all counties have people who vote Democrat and people who vote Republican in all counties. There's no such thing as one county that votes fully red or fully blue.
Exactly. It just went. Just like Erie County, where Kamala is now. It was like Obama won it twice. Biden won it. Trump won it. So what is it? Is it red? Is it blue? Is it hurricane strikes? Did the government make it when it was a red county? It's like, let me strike now. Like, what? It doesn't make sense what is being said right now.
But like I said,
fucking idiot.
Is it stupidity or is it something way more serious here? I mean,
It's just really.
I mean, are brainwashed people stupid, or is there something else going on here?
There's no critical thinking. That's illogical. What she's saying is the same as with the ballots, how they're saying, people cheated and, they did something with the ballots. but then it's like everyone else but Trump. People just didn't vote for Trump, but voted down ballot Republican. So if the ballot's no good, that means that the Republican that's in the House right now shouldn't be there. It's not, it doesn't compute. It doesn't make sense. There's no critical thinking. It's so flat and surface. It's just exactly what Trump gives them is exactly what they take and hold true. There's no, let me Google that. Let me find out a little more. There's none of that. It's just on its face. FEMA is taking houses. There's no Googling it. Trump said so. You got to pay that $750 back because Trump said no Google, no nothing, no talking to other people, none of that. It's Trump said. That's wild.
I think what saddens and scares me the most is, first of all, they're preying on those kind of people. But what saddens me and scares me the most is that there are more of those kind of people out there now than I ever thought that there was. Because we've talked about it already, that the conspiracy theorists, all these people, these are people you shied away from back in the past. Now they're front and center and they're out there voting in numbers, like numbers enough to where people are not able to sleep at night because they're afraid that this could take over. And again, when I've said this, it's not taking over just this country. It's taking over the world. If the United States, however the United States runs, I mean, it's not a cocky thing to say. It's just a fact. Whatever the United States does, it basically runs the rest of this world. And if this is how we're going, and these are the people that now are voting, you also have some of these people who say, I will die for this. I will literally die for this. I don't think there's enough of those people. But I do believe that there are enough of people out there that will vote. Obviously there is, and it scares me and it saddens me that they prey on these very sad and pathetic people. And it's working to an extent. But anyway, before we go, Angel says, or he wants to make it to the White House and hand it over to JD. That's exactly what he'll do with a pardon. I don't even know, would he even need a pardon? Because if he's a president, you know, they can't prosecute him now.
Right. He has immunity.
Well, no, but actually she may, well, I don't know, because I would imagine that the limit of the statute of limitations runs out while he's in office. But if it doesn't, maybe they just give him some sort of pardon in case.
We'll talk about who fun. Wait, we were talking about
if there's a statute of limitation on Donald Trump's crimes while he's in office. So if you can't, let's say 4 years goes on and then he's no longer president, can we now prosecute him after the 4 years? And I think that's
paused. I don't think that continues to run while he's president, would it? Because
it's a question that nobody has ever been able to answer. So maybe that's why Angel is suggesting that he would give a pardon just in case, that after he is out of office, that now he's pardoned, so they can't prosecute him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Donald Trump will pardon himself. I mean, because he's technically the president. So
he's going to get rid of that. He's going to try to get rid of that Georgia case. Get rid of Fani any way he can. He can't pardon that, but he's going to find a way to get out of that case.
Again, folks, this is all irrelevant because he won't be president. I'm just telling you, you don't have to worry about it. Kamala Harris will be our president in 3 weeks and 1 day. Lana, I don't know if you've made the decision. I think you kind of like, I'm not coming on the show live that night.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't, I understand, but I will be on for at least a time. I'm going to feel confident. Maybe if you start to feel confident that night, you hop on. We'll figure it out. We got 3 weeks to figure it out. But in 3 weeks and 1 day, we're going to have a new president. Her name is going to be Kamala Harris. And you thought the celebrations in the street were wild when Biden won, and that was during the middle of COVID.
Crazy.
Wait until you see what happens when she wins. It's going to be nuts. And I hope you have the next day off of work because it's going to be something to celebrate. Finally, Angel says, is she brainwashed? There's absolutely no question. And he is already charged with 34. So anyway, Lana, do you want to tell us about your show and when you're going to do it and what you got coming up with your show as well?
Probably not Thursday.
What? No, I know why. Because you'll be watching the Mets and Dodgers.
That's right.
Let's go Mets.
Yes, next week, Thursday at 8 p.m. I am going to be starting a series on the impacts of the abortion ban. To be determined when, though. I am still working on that.
Yeah, and Lana is really good at everything that she does. But, you know, if you ever heard her passion about this particular subject, I think that is definitely something that you are going to want to tune into, because it is very close to her heart. And she, you know, when she speaks about it, it's certainly not something that she is just riffing on. You know, this is something that she has had close to her heart for a very long time. So I know I'll be there. I hope you guys will be there. And we will be back on Tuesday night of next week live, Lana and I. And well, it all depends. I got to see what the Mets schedule. No,
all right.
That series will be over by Monday night of next week. I'm crossing my fingers. Please, I need the Mets to win.
These Mets are gonna win.
Mets are going to win. Lana said it already. Sorry, Angel. But I think I will be doing a show Friday night. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Hit that subscribe button, the notification bell. You'll know all that shit, what's going to happen. Do it on Lana's show, The Quest Show, and we will see everybody next week. Thank you, Angel, for joining.
Bye, Angel.
Good night, everybody. Good night,
Good
Lana.
night.